So this is the story of how I lost $180,000 on Tesla, most of my Tesla stock, and what I'm going to do after this big accident trading options on Tesla. I want you to first check out this clip of Pete Najarian on Tesla because it'll explain a lot more of my thought process when I entered the trade.
All right, Pete. Tesla, the momentum to beat rolls on. I mean, another new high today, up 45% in a month, and you bought more calls. So you're just going to keep riding the momentum all the way up?
I am. I'm going to continue to roll with them, Scott. As a matter of fact, you go back to October 15th, stock was $853, and then it's just gone steadily up each and every day. And the monster option activity that we've been seeing in there, buying more upside, has been right. Eventually, it'll be wrong. We all know that. But for right now, they continue to roll up. And just last week, for instance, we had two monstrous hits in Tesla. Those immediately started to move to the upside. We've had volumes there, Scott, where we're well over 3 million contracts twice last week. 2 million contracts has become the norm. Matter of fact, today already traded almost 1.5 million contracts. So gives you a little bit of an idea of the appetite that people have. With the stock today trading around 1,138, we had a buyer of 35,000 of this week's expiring 1,200 calls. Gives you a little bit of an idea. They just keep coming and coming and coming. And part of it, I think, is the implied volatilities here has been going down. It used to be triple digit. They used to trade 100% or more implied volatilities. Now we're talking about we got into the 40s not too terribly long ago. It's starting to rise again. We're about 55 or 60 implied volatility, but that's well, obviously half of where it had been. And that, I think, is enticing more and more folks there as well. The fact that the implied volatilities have come in as much as they have.
All right, so the first thing that Pete Najarian said was anyone that bought call options was right, and right again. You just cannot be wrong on buying calls on Tesla. But one thing that Pete Najarian did say is that eventually someone buying calls would be a loser. And I didn't know when that moment would be. So as you guys can see on my screen right now, I sold a 1,100 call option expiring 10/29. So the end of October, I sold 11 contracts, and that was only $2,625. Now I've been running this strategy over and over where I'm selling call option after call option, and basically I have been losing money because Tesla has only been going up in one direction. And although I was a big Tesla shareholder, I didn't think that the stock would have a meteoric rise, so I continued to sell call options. I would buy back those call options for a loss, and I would sell new call options. Well, where the problem really came in was on October 29th, that Friday, after a long trading week, and it was my birthday weekend, and at 1 p.m. I decided that I was going to take a nap. And we all know how that nap ended up going. I woke up, it was past 4 o'clock, and only to see Tesla was above 1,100 per share, and that I accidentally, not by myself, but the covered calls that I sold 11 contracts, or in other words, it sold 1,100 shares of stock that I own in Tesla. And unfortunately, it was 11 and a half months into holding the stock. So now I have to pay short-term capital gains tax on a stock that I didn't even want to sell. So now instead of having 1,520 shares, I only have 420 shares. And I guess Elon Musk would be proud of me for owning this number. Now, the reason why I was selling calls to begin with, and honestly, I'll admit it was a big mistake, is partly because the implied volatility on Tesla is so high. So selling weekly options is very attractive in most weeks, in most months, until, well, Tesla decides to go parabolic and rise in a single month by 42%. And honestly, a lot of this isn't even fully known on why Tesla went up so much. I can speculate that it's due to the Hertz deal. However, you will notice right here that Elon Musk actually tweeted that Tesla doesn't actually have a demand problem, it has a supply problem. Basically, Elon Musk is even as confused as I am on why Tesla went up so much, and this is not something that happens usually. He actually said, if any of this is based on Hertz, I'd like to emphasize that no contract has been signed yet. Tesla has far more demand than production, therefore we will only sell cars to Hertz for the same margin as to consumers. Hertz deal has zero effect on our economics. So looking at Tesla stock, this stock looks like an exponential curve just going up into infinity. And as you guys will notice right here, the stock has actually stayed above an RSI of 90, which again, I didn't think that was going to happen because usually when a stock reaches about 80, it is considered overbought, but Tesla is actually over 90. It's currently 94, which makes no sense because this stock has gone past past $1 trillion valuation, which is fine. I was expecting it to go to $1 trillion sometime in the next couple of quarters, but it did so in the next couple of weeks when I was trading options. And now the stock is $1.21 trillion. So it basically added $200 billion in just a single week. Now, honestly, I have to own up here. It's my fault. Where I went wrong was I sold covered calls week after week after week on the biggest momentum stock in the entire planet. But where I really went wrong was not paying attention on Friday of the option closing. Falling asleep at 1 p.m. during the market trading on a day where the option expires is probably the biggest mistake I have made in this entire year. It has costed me $180,000 worth of taxes. Now, another problem that I have is I sold $1.2 million worth of Tesla stock, but I don't actually have a place where I want to put that money. If we take a look at the chart here, something that I really like doing is I like to go to indicators and I like to go to RSI, but I also like to use Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands give me a good sense of where a stock is likely to trade within in terms of a certain statistical average. So as you guys can see, Tesla has not followed any laws of physics, which is fine. Stocks don't always follow the law of physics, they follow human emotion. Now, Tesla is way above the Bollinger Band, has stayed above the Bollinger Band since October 22nd. So it's been a week where Tesla has continuously stayed above the Bollinger Band, where I did not think that it would continue to go up this high. Now, Tesla's over $1,208 per share. And unfortunately, I have sold Tesla stock at $1,100 per share. And my current plan, well, I don't actually have a current plan, although I did make a lot of moves, which I'm going to show you in just a second. This was a whole big accident on my end. As you guys can see here, the middle of the Bollinger Band is $904. So what I'm thinking about doing is adding back to my Tesla position. And obviously I'm going to do it with $180,000 less of money. And that money just went into thin air into the US government's pockets. But this was also a sign for me, I'm not going to lie, that everyone needs to diversify. And maybe this is a sign that I was too heavy into Tesla. And maybe that it is time for me to start diversifying the money that I have. So now if you guys take a look at my total Tesla position, I have 420 shares. And if I actually scroll down, I did make a few plays in the private Discord. What I ended up doing was because, well, I don't know what to do with the money. And I feel like if I don't have enough Tesla, that I will have some major FOMO. However, I did decide that I'm not going to put the full capital back into Tesla because it may not be wise for me anymore to go all in on Tesla stock. Now, if you guys take a look right here, I did sell 2 put contracts here at the 1,095 strike. And the reason why I did that, and part of it is just so I can feel a little bit better about my bad decision about taking a nap, is that I sold Tesla stock at 1,100 per share. So now I'm selling puts at 1,095 strike. Therefore, I can collect a difference of $5 on the strike. However, I have a whole bunch of taxes to pay. So although I'm saving $5 on the strike, or in essence, it's going to be $500 per contract or $1,000 in this scenario, well, that still leaves me in the hole about $179,000. The other thing that I did do was I don't know how to learn from my own mistakes. So I ended up selling more call options at the 1,200 strike. And again, I'm making some fun of myself here, but at the same time, it is smart to sell call options on all stocks because as long as a call option is out of the money and it has a delta of less than 0.5, well, you have greater than a 50% chance of winning on that option. So in the long term, you are going to be making some money in theory. Now, after I sold these 2 put options on Tesla, I took a look at the stock and I still felt a lot of FOMO. So what I ended up doing was I sold 6 more contracts for Tesla going out to December 17th. And I sold 6 of these contracts for $35 a pop, which ended up being around $22,000. Now that $22,000 makes me feel a little bit better because now I am making some of the money that I lost back from taxes. However, again, I have to pay taxes on the money that I'm making. However, I decided from this point that 6 contracts here and 2 contracts here, or basically 800 shares worth of Tesla, was enough for me. And although I did sell 1,100 shares, I'm going to put 300 shares worth of Tesla somewhere else. So what I ended up doing was I sold a put contract on Google, which was a $287,000 trade. And I collected about $1,500 on that trade. But really what my goal here is to get put shares of Google because I would love to own Google, because as a YouTuber, I know exactly how much my other peers, other YouTubers, especially the finance guys, are making, and they make a whole lot of money, and a lot of that goes into YouTube's pocket. So the only way for me to bet on YouTube is by buying Google stock. I don't have 1 million subscribers, but I know the channels that have more subscribers than me are absolutely killing it, and I want some way to be invested in the YouTube platform. So for me, I was thinking about Facebook, Google, Amazon, and Tesla, and I decided that Tesla was still a really good position, although I made a big loss by selling the stock by accident using covered calls and not paying attention on expiration dates. I still decided that I have to learn from my lessons, feel the pain, and I still don't have a better place to invest my money than Tesla. So I decided to invest most of the money that I had from selling Tesla accidentally, well, into Tesla again, and then I decided to invest the rest of it into Google stock. So the lesson learned here, guys, is always pay attention to your portfolio on Fridays, especially if you're trading options, because you can lose a ton of money option trading and you get your stock called away from you, forcing you to pay lots of taxes. Or if you have lots of spreads and the stock is in between your spread, well, your broker may close you out for a loss, or you might get put some shares of the stock, or something else crazy might happen on a Friday if you're not paying attention. So that's the story of how I accidentally sold Tesla stock, did so, and then invested the money back into Tesla, but now I just have $180,000 less. And I'd like to cry and collect my tears in a bottle and put that bottle somewhere where I can always look at it and remind myself not to ever miss a Friday of trading again. Anyways, I still sold Tesla for a very big gain. Although I lost $180,000, I ended up actually selling Tesla for a $600,000 profit. And if you guys just want to follow along, then you can always join the Discord group or just join the free email list that I have below. I'm going to become a lot more active down there. I'm going to be sending people free emails about what I'm doing with the stock holdings that I have, and as well as some option trades. Both of those are in the link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And hopefully I'll have some better news and my tears will be wiped away.